Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses in what is another product review. So let's roll the intro and get cracking. So I have been sent yet another motorcycle dash with two cameras, front and rear cameras. This one is made by a company called Aoocci. I want to call it Aoocci. Aoocci? A-O-O-C-C-I. Aoocci. Let's go with that because it sounds good. And this one is the C5 or the P501-DT. So let's open the box and see what we get inside, and then we'll go and fit it on a bike and see what it's like in the real world. So first of all, let's have a look. What do we get inside? Open the box, and we've got some foam, some instructions, a cover, and the actual unit itself. So let's have a look at this unit here. It's quite a nice size. Oh, it's very sturdy. Well, I like that. So you've already got the bracket attached on there, thusly. See, that's a little bit out of focus. I apologise if it is. But there we go. I'll show you closer up when I'm fitting it. And we've got three wires here, and they're the quick release screw-in wires. I like those. Nice and secure, nice and watertight. So we've got those there. The casing, which you don't need. A pointless spanner that nobody uses, like something you get from IKEA. Okay, so we've got one camera here. Let's have a look. Now these are 1080p cameras, so decent size. Just a normal sized camera. And the little sticky pads if you want to stick it on a flat surface. These I'll come on to in a second, so I'll come back to those. But they are something I haven't seen on one of these dash units before, so that's interesting. The main gubbins of the wires, that's the connector for it. And here you've got a fused live and a ground and the yellow wire, ACC wire. We'll go through the book in a minute and see what everything does and where it all wires up to. It's quite straightforward. Here we've got a little bracket that goes on, and again I'll show you what this does in a minute. So these two things here we will come back to. The other camera, so as I said, we've got front and rear cameras on these 1080p cameras. Another pack of screws or sticky pads there. And the other camera thusly. So they're color coded. You've got the black wire and the green wire, so you know which one goes to the front and which one goes to the rear. That kind of indicates to me there's two different resolutions, but we'll come back to that in a second. Another little packet of screws there. Get rid of the box and the bracket to mount it on the handlebars with. So you've got lots of little reducer sections. If you want to go on smaller bars or bigger bars, so that's quite good. So you've got these ones here and they slot inside like so. So you just slot in if you want to make it smaller on smaller handlebars. Can you see that there? Smaller on smaller handlebars, or take them apart for slightly bigger handlebars or massive bars. So you haven't got to worry about whether you've got a Harley or a traditional bike that normal people ride. Sorry, couldn't help myself. I'm sure people love Harleys, just not for me. Anyway, let's have a look at the instructions. So lots of little packets of bags. Oh no, before we do, this. Now this is something I've quite often complained about on some of these sat-nav units, and that is a little hood. So you've got a hood to keep the sun off. A little hood shade. I like that. That's nice. So you've got two little screws there to screw in the top. the little holes there, and a nice little sun hood. That's good. I quite like that, especially if I do it the right way around, because they're the screw holes. It's got screws. What about the screw holes in the bottom? Oh, they're not screw holes, it's just my eyes. I'm not wearing my glasses, I do apologise. So you've got proper screw holes in the top there. And that sits on the top there thusly. Very nice. See, that's what you get with me. You get raw, let's open the box and see what we get as we find it. Because then I'm doing it from a consumer point of view and not, I've been through it, I know it all, I'm just going to explain it. So this is a raw, as you would find it, kind of review. So there you go. So yeah, that sits nicely on there. And then the screws go in top. I like that. Okay, now these. What are these, I hear you ask? Well, these are tyre pressure monitors. How very simple. As I say, I haven't seen these on one of these units yet. So this is new to me, and that's pretty impressive. So you've got two little things, little monitors there. Oh, I'm going to put that in my hand there so you can see it better. Can you? Let's go with that, like so. So we've got that there. Come on, there we go. So you've got that there, and it screws in to the top of the tyre, like so. And then you've got tyre pressure monitors, which send the signal to the unit. That's impressive. I like that. So not only do you have front and rear dash cam, but you also have the mirror of your phone, so Google Maps, the ability to see phone calls and messages and stuff like that, and tyre pressure monitors. That's pretty impressive. So let's have a look through the book and see what it says in here. So the manual, I am going to need my glasses. Can you see that? Hold that thought. So now I've got my glasses, I can read the manual a bit better. Now there are 3 different units you can get. You've got P501, which is basically the only wireless CarPlay Android Auto dash. So you just get the dash system. The P501-D, which is the dash system and the front and rear cameras. Or you get the P501-DT, which is the unit I've got here. So that's a top of the range unit, and that is the dash system, the full HD front and rear cameras, and the tyre pressure monitor system. So that's what we've got here, the full gubbins. That's awesome. Right, now, so you've got the 3 wires, as I say on here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, the red wire goes to the live, the black goes to ground, and the yellow is your switch live or your ignition. So if you want it to come on only when you turn the ignition on, that's what you'd connect that wire to. So something like a light, maybe, or an indicator, something like that. Or of course your ignition, but they're usually a bit of a nightmare to get to, so maybe not. But I've got my other ones connected to my rear lights. So when I turn the ignition on, the lights come on the bike, and that comes on thusly. Or even on my ZXR, the lights come on when I flick the switch. So if I do it to the on section of that switch, that's a bit more fiddly. So yeah, there we go. That's what we've got there. And also then, if you do that, it would only work if you switch your lights on. So, so yes, choose carefully what you wire it to, or get a professional to do it is the easiest way. But if you know what you're doing, then fine. I mean, I've done quite a few of these now, so I know what to wire to. But yeah, so what you don't get is a memory card. You don't get an SD card, but to be fair, I don't think you get an SD card in many of these units. I'm going to have to take one out of another one because I've got so many of these units now. I've got memory cards used up all over the place. So yeah, very interesting. So let's look at the resolution we've got. Well, the image resolution is 1920 by 1080. That's proper 1080. What you quite often find, and that's the interesting bit that I wanted. So cameras. Front camera, 1920 by 1080. Rear camera, 1920 by 1080. Now, a lot of these units, I've said this in videos before, a lot of these units will say, oh yes, they're 1080 cameras. What they mean is the front one is 1920 by 1080, the rear one is 1080 by 720, which actually means you're getting a 1080 front camera but a 720 rear camera. These ones are both 1920 by 1080, which means both cameras are full HD 1080 cameras. So that's what you want when you're looking for these units. So we've got a 5-inch screen. Resolution on the screen is 854 by 480, which is absolutely fine. For a unit like this, that's absolutely perfect, no problem at all. TF card, so it will take up to 128 gig card. It's in various different languages, lots of different languages. Obviously you've got English, you've got Chinese, traditional Chinese, Japanese, Korean, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Hebrew and Russian. It's the first one I've seen in Hebrew, that's pretty good. So yeah, we've got some interesting stuff. Obviously you've got the the DDR is 2 gig DDR3, so a nice unit. I'm quite pleased with this. It's very impressive. It's got lots of little bits of tech bundled into that small little screen there. You've got little pictures in here on what you can do with the display and how it all connects up. So it's all fairly straightforward. And you've even got an instrument panel dash that you can have on there. I'm just going to show you quickly through this book. So you can see here what you get. It's all quite straightforward, but it's nice to see a well thought out manual instead of just Chinglish. So yeah, I'm liking that. Now what you can see on those last 2 pages there is, as I say, various different functions you've got. But what I like is that dash. So you've got on your dash here, this bit here, on that instrument panel, then you can see your tyre pressure monitors. And I'm keen to see how well that works. So that's going to be good. I've got a hand pump here, so I can pump it to, I'll probably let it down a little bit, maybe pump it to like 32 instead of 36 or something in the front tyre, something like that, and see how these monitors pick up on that as to whether it's accurate or not. So yeah, A and B, so you've got they're lettered A and B for the front and rear, and it'll show A and B on the instrument panel when you're checking it out. So that's really impressive bit of kit. Right, that's enough waffle for me. Let's get out, fit it to a bike and go out on the road. Onto the fitting, and it doesn't seem that difficult. Let's take a look. So as my old Speed Triple seems to have been harbouring quite a bit of tech, I've removed a couple of bits because I'm kind of overloading the positive and negative on the battery there, and we're going to get this thing wired in. So the first thing to do is to make sure you put in a memory card in the bottom there, and that just unscrews from the bottom, and then put the little waterproof rubber cap back in. Make sure it goes the right way. There we go, that's back in, and then screw that back on top with the 2 tiny little screws. Being careful not to lose them because they are minute. And do it over this wood so I don't lose it down a hole. Then I've got plenty of handlebar space, so I shall just mount it on here like so. And depending on your handlebar size, obviously this one is ginormous, so I need to use the inserts to make it smaller. Like so. So the inserts are in there and it is on very sturdy. That isn't going anywhere. That's a nice secure bracket, that. I'm a bit concerned about the angle at this time. I can't put it up here because it's too thick, so it can't fit in there. I don't want to put it down here because then it's going to be right in front of my Speedo. So I don't think it's got any other adjustment angle on this, so let's just see what we come up with. However, there is adjustment on this bracket on this side, so you can undo that and adjust it round so you can have it twisted. So that's going to work quite nicely actually. They've really thought of that. So with that nut and bolt tight in there, I've loosened the other one, so now it can go whichever angle I want, and then I'll tighten it up. That is really good. Yeah, I like that. Okay, now I have hit upon a snag on this particular bike. Now, because the handlebars move separate, sorry, that's just my stand moving, don't worry. My handlebars move separate to the front end of the bike. I have to be careful where I put this. I can't put it up here because I don't have the space, and this is quite a thick bracket. If I tilt it backwards, I've loosened it all off for now, so if I tilt it backwards, that can go there, and I can go like that, but then it's a weird angle. I'm not looking at it directly, I'm looking sort of over there. I could move it down the handlebars, then it's going to be right in front of the tank. That's a possibility. If I move it down there, oh yeah, that'll work. Yeah, because then I can still see the speedo, still see the rev counter. Yeah, that'll work better. Right, okay, so there it is then. Oh, if I straighten the handlebars, it needs to be like that. Yeah, that's good, that works, nice. Right then, the yellow ACC wire is connected to a switch live. In this case on this bike is the rear light, so it's something that comes on when I turn the ignition on. The positive is connected to the positive, and the negative is connected to the negative, obviously, of the battery. So, moment of truth, let's switch it on and see what happens. We have a welcome screen. Oh, I've got the important bit. Oh, makes noises. Okay, I have a memory card in there and it's recording straight away, look. So what have we got here? We've got CarPlay, so we can connect it to my phone and get sat-nav, GPS information. Okay, GPS is not doing anything. Okay, maybe, oh, it's got some sort of bars, so whatever. I love the touchscreen, that's really good. CarPlay, so Apple CarPlay we don't want, we want Android. Panel, what we got here? Ooh, speedo, look. I like that. That's quite cool. Okay, that is moving. BT, so I can connect to my phone via the BT app, Bluetooth app. Not BT as in British Telecom. Replay, so I can record and look back at what I've done. So we've got that already. So this is just the front one. Oh, it's picking up sound as well, I can hear myself. And then the rear camera. Yeah, there's the rear camera. Nice. So at the moment all I'm seeing is shed, but we will go out and test it. It's looking good so far. Alright, this CarPlay thing. Alright, please use iPhone for Bluetooth pairing. Follow the... so this is just for iPhone, which I don't have. So it'd have to be the BT Connect for me, because I have Android. Right. I'm liking this so far. Settings, let's see what we've got here. Tyre Pressure Monitors, well I don't have that. So it can tell me as much as I like, but I haven't got the tyre pressure monitors on this. Oh yes, I have! I have! And here they are. Tyre pressure monitors, A and B. FW for front wheel and RW for rear wheel. Right, now the moment of truth as to whether they're going to fit on my right-angled valves. Let's have a look. Okay, so excuse my dirty wheel. Take that off. Yes, it does. So that is now monitoring the pressures. So let's see if it's picked it up. So again, ignition on. That ching is my other camera system. Right, so settings. pressures. Not picking anything up at the moment, but perhaps that's because I haven't... Oh, start. Pairing. Oh, it pairs it. Interesting. Perhaps I have to ride first before it picks it up. That's how it does it in the cars. So we'll do that whilst we're... I'll leave it on for a minute and come back in a second, see if it connects or whether it has to ride first. So whilst I've been screwing the back one in, which is now pairing, it has come up with the front. So we want PSI, 39 PSI in the front. So I usually have 36, actually it's a bit high. I usually have 36 in the front, 42 in the back. But I do use the hand pumpy ones and they're not very accurate, so I'm glad I got these on now because obviously it shows the accuracy of it. Temperature as well, you can have the temperature of the tyre, that's pretty good. Or you can have an alarm set as well as to if it goes below a certain PSI, it will bleep, and a upper alarm as well if it goes too high. So if the tyres are getting too hot perhaps. Can tyres get too hot? That just makes it fun and sticky. But I like that. See what the back comes up with. Okay, this says I have 33 in the rear. Really? 39 in the front? I think they've got that the wrong way around. And I have got front and rear in the correct order. That seems to me that that's got the wrong way around. That's the front. Now looking through the manual, I was a little bit confused when I turned the screen on, and I'll show you what I mean. In the manual, you've got here a picture of the display, and you've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto buttons on the screen. But that's not the reality. When you get the unit, all I've got is this Apple CarPlay, and I thought, well, there isn't. I can't scroll up. There's nothing else to show me Android Auto. So what do? So I first of all connected the Bluetooth on my phone, and it Bluetoothed up straight away. Found it, no problem at all, and it Bluetooth connected straight away. I thought then, oh, it's going to go into Android Auto, but it didn't. You have to do that physically, and I'll show you what you have to do. So here on the settings, you just click on Settings, Interconnection, and then you can choose Android Auto. Then there's the Android Auto here, and that's already connected, I believe, because I've done it previously. There you go. And then you can see it comes up with the map, so it mirrors my phone quite nicely, comes up with the map straight away. You can then click on Settings or go on Phone, and it shows you all your connections that you've had on your phone. Click on the button down in the corner here, and it will show you a mirror of your phone, of all the apps that it will support. So there's quite a few on there. And then click Exit, and it goes back to the main screen, like so. Then if you want to go back to Apple CarPlay, it's just that button there is the Android Auto. So you click on your Settings and Interconnection and choose the Apple CarPlay. But yeah, you've got quite a few here. Format, time you can change, obviously. Phone audio, language, volume, Wi-Fi connect, format the memory card. And yeah, it's a nice little system. I've got the sunshade on now. With direct sunlight, I can't see that doing anything, to be honest. If the sun's coming down from above, then yes. But if it's not, and the sun is behind you, then it's not going to make any difference. So we'll see how this fares. I mean, I can still see it there. I don't know how well it comes out on the camera. I can still see it quite nicely. It is recording. If I was to click on the camera, I can do it with my gloves, and they're not touch gloves either, so they're just normal gloves, so that seems to work really well. I can change which camera I want. I can turn the sound off if I want to. Rear camera's facing there and front camera's there. What I do need to do by the looks of it is undo that camera and turn it a little bit. I didn't check that before I left, but for the purpose of this little demonstration, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. If I was to record that, I can just touch the screen and press the lock button. Did that lock? Oh, that took a photo. Did that lock? Yes, now it's locked. That's good. Settings, what's got on the settings on the camera? Okay, resolution, that's good. Loop recording, oh, we can have some loop recording. 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, so that's quite good. Back out of there. It's good that you can use the menu with normal bike gloves on. I'm really pleased about that. So just to pull over a sec, let's see what we've got. We've got camera formats, 1080p, 1080n. Yeah, I like that. I really do like that you can use your normal bike gloves. You can turn the music or the sound off. G sensor in case you're hit. Resolution on here. So we've got, oh, you can have 2K by the looks of it. 1440p. We'll leave it on 1080p because that's good enough. GPS you can turn on and off. Date and time watermark as well. Back camera mirror. Okay, so it mirrors the camera rather than has it backwards. That's good, that's on. So decent settings there. Ah, interesting. So if I put it in 1080p, that's the quality it comes out at. Let me put that back in 1080n then. Okay, 1080n is fine. A little bit of haze on that rear one there. Other than that, we seem pretty good. We are recording. So at this point, what I shall do is put in the footage of the camera, and then you can see whilst I'm riding what we're getting. Please be mindful, as I say, that I do need to twist that front camera, so don't worry about the positioning of that. The time and date I haven't set, as it isn't 9 o'clock at night. And it certainly isn't the 18th of October, does that say? I can't see from here. Now the sun is directly on it. I can still see it. I don't know how it comes on the camera, but I can still see it. But this little shade thing is pointless when it's in direct sunlight. And yes, I know my engine light is on. It's always on. It's been reset about 3 times and then it stays on. I think it's because the battery sometimes drops below, even though I've got it on a maintenance charger. I think it still drops to 12 and the bike doesn't like, I don't know what it is, but it makes no difference to the way the bike rides, so I can't be bothered anymore. Okay, I'm getting a bit of a wobble on this. I mean, it is tight, but it seems to have come loose a bit, but I definitely tightened it up 100%. It's still there, but we'll see if it gets any looser. What I do want to do is go back to home and check my tyre pressures at this moment. Yeah, so at the moment this is saying the back, and bearing in mind I definitely have put the back one on the back tyre, says 35. I would say that's the front, and the sticker's been put on wrong, and it says the front is 41, which it definitely isn't, because I was put 36 front, 42 rear. So at least the tyre pressures are reading properly. I just need to swap them round, or swap them round and swap the stickers round. There we go. Now we've got front and rear as it should be, and this has definitely come loose more. So I would say those nuts and bolts are not very good, and I would put probably a washer on there, because look at that, that's just with me riding. So it's definitely come undone with me riding. It's the only real complaint I've got. Other than that, I don't really have any complaints at all. I like the screen, I like the look of it, I like the clarity of it. I like a lot that you can touch the screen with your gloves on. The only thing I am a little bit disappointed with is the screws. I would put a spring washer in there to stop those coming undone, because the vibrations, and this is not really a vibey bike to be fair, but the vibrations have made that go all over the place. That's awful.